we've just been very critical of Jimmy Garoppolo. He usually wins. His quarterback rating against the Cardinals was 103. There's been worse quarterback performances. And what I want to ask is Jimmy Garoppolo unfairly scrutinized and criticized, especially in comparison to, say, Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold, two quarterbacks he's going to face in the next coming weeks who have about the same amount of experience as Jimmy? Jackhammer, you wrote an article about this just a few days ago. So why don't you start us off?
I think, as a quarterback, you're always going to be unfairly criticized because you get all but too much credit and you get too much of the blame. You know, he had the team in position to win the game. He got him up 2017. You know, defense let him down the whole fourth quarter. He just needs to go out and keep doing what he's doing. You know, in his career, he has not played well in the opening day. In either of his two starts now with the 49ers, now three. So, you know, I think what we're going to see is he needs to step up next week and do what he normally does in week 2. And that's going to be a big deal for the 49ers.
Chrissy, you're up.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay. I'm looking at Jimmy from last week. He had 19 points for me on my bench because I obviously started Mahomes over him in my fantasy league. 19 point something points. And you know what? I thought to myself, that's not that bad. I don't know why everybody's ripping on him. I mean, at the end of the day, they didn't get the W. So, like, yeah, okay, they're going to rip on him. And I looked at a lot of footage of him leaving open so many receivers, and it's really sad. So I honestly think that if you're looking at somebody like Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo is still better than them, but he gets more of the criticism because he lets it go in those moments that matter the most. I think that Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones, they don't have as much pressure on them. They're not held to the same standard because they didn't just go to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I understand why people are looking at it and they're saying, you know, is he getting more criticism than these guys? Yeah, he is, but rightfully so because he got his team to the Super Bowl last year. Those guys did nothing. So...
That's true. The technical term for what they did last season is nothing. Jose, you're up. Nothing.
Well, I think it was last month or something that I wrote that it feels like Jimmy Garoppolo's the most disrespected athlete in football because just no matter what, just something gets brought up like, oh, Jimmy Garoppolo, when it has nothing to do with him, just anything just gets brought up. And criticism, especially last game, Super Bowl even, like rightfully so, 100%. But it's not. It's more criticism. Why isn't he doing more? So on and so forth. Well, that's not the offense. They're not supposed to be in shotgun, which I was shocked that they were in shotgun so much time last Sunday. And I mean, the limited times I was with you in training camp, Grant, I was surprised. Like I didn't see this too often. I mean, you were there all the time. I don't know if that was the case, but he is unfairly criticized to a certain extent. He's criticized good because you're on the best team, Super Bowl contending team, and a lot of times it's not really you that's stepping up. So if he can. It's just sometimes it's just outrageous. This week definitely deserves all the slander because the ball was in his court without Kittle out there and so many players, so it deserved to be him.
I don't know if he's unfairly criticized, but he gets a lot. I mean, he gets so much. I don't know if there's another quarterback in the league who gets as much as him. Maybe Dak Prescott. So I think maybe it comes with the territory of being on the 49ers. I mean, it's a pretty prestigious quarterback job. But it, like Chrissy said, like Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold have accomplished nothing. They're on losing teams. Even though they're in big markets, they don't matter. And I think the fact that everyone's focused on Jimmy Garoppolo it speaks well for him. It means that he's on the level of quarterbacks who actually matter. Like, I mean, no one on ESPN's talking about Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold. Who cares about them? Who are you going to say, Chrissy?
Okay, so I wanted to say this because it's something that's bothered me a little bit. And okay, Jimmy Garoppolo in his first real season as a starter, I've said this a lot in my other blogs that I've written and whatever, but he did really well. He brought his team to the Super Bowl in his first real season as a starter. And if you look at his completion percentage, it was 69.1, which is great. But he literally did better than what Joe Montana did in his first real season as a starter. And I even wrote down some of the stats. So back in 1981, Montana had 3,565 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, right? So, I mean, that's not that great. Jimmy Garoppolo beat that. He had 3,978 yards or something like that. Yeah, exactly that. 27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and to end on that, we're going into the next year that he's starting as a quarterback. Yes, he lost his first game. But didn't they lose that first game back in 81 too? And then they ended up winning. Or was that 82? They ended up winning the Super Bowl later on. So, I mean, I don't know why everybody sits there and they judge every little thing that he does because what I want to do is you know what, judging at the end of the year, if he doesn't come back and come out of it and do something for the team, fine. But you can't sit there and point at game one and say, oh my God, like, let's rip on Jimmy now. Jimmy's nothing. Yeah, he messed up. A lot of the team did, but you can't point it all at Jimmy. That's just my 2 cents.
It's a tradition. We're very hard on the quarterbacks, on 49ers quarterbacks. At least it's what I started doing when I started covering the team with Alex Smith. And it's just been a tradition going down the line through Colin Kaepernick. I just feel like it's tough being a 49ers quarterback. That's partly what it is. You're following in the footsteps of Joe Montana and Steve Young, and the bar couldn't be any higher. So one bad game, and Niner fans are like, man, I've seen enough of this guy. All right, let's move on. Well, real quick before we move on, if you had to start a franchise with Jimmy Garoppolo, Daniel Jones, or Sam Darnold, who would you pick and why? Real quick.
I'm going with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy, 100%.
I really want to say Sam Darnold, but he hasn't done much. I'm going Jimmy too.
I'm going with Daniel Jones because he's cheap. Okay, let's move on. All right.
Because all of a sudden, okay.
Let me slide that one in there.